So your kid did something real bad, and now you want to teach them a lesson, give them some punishment, consequence, discipline, so that they never do that again. Here's why your punishment is going to fail every single time, and everything you need to know about the brain nervous system, and yes, that punishment loop that you're stuck inside of, in order to step outside of it and get your kids to cooperate once and for all. The first thing you need to know about is the brain and nervous system. There's 3 parts of the brain that really matter here. The first one is the prefrontal cortex, is right here. It's the last part of the brain to develop. What's really important for parents is that this is where language lives, where rational thought lives. And so in order to do any learning grounded in language and rational thought, you got to have access to this part of the brain. Next part of the brain that really matters for this conversation is the limbic system. This is kind of the seat of the emotions. One of the main roles of this part of the brain is to scan the environment, make a snap, 2-second decision. Am I safe or am I not safe? Now, this is not where language lives. So that decision is not going to be grounded in language. That decision is grounded in feeling and emotion and tone and body language. Okay, split-second decision without words. The last part of the brain I want you to know about is right here. It's the base of the brain. And you'll see here going down the nervous system, right? And this governs like automatic functions, breathing, heartbeat, blinking, stuff that you're born doing, body language. What does all this matter for behavior? Language, learning, impulse control, all the good stuff is up here. And so if you're reactive, you're hitting, kicking, yelling, punching, screaming, you're likely to be down here. And the parent's role is to get you back up here. Now, how do you do that? Let me tell you, it's not for consequences. And to talk about this piece, I really have to show you something called the punishment loop. It goes like this, okay? Your kid pushes their sibling and you yell, or maybe you just have a little bit of tone in your voice, and they go. So what's happening in the brain? Okay, you're like, I gotta get reactive because this child is hurting my little one, and so I gotta yell, and you yell, and the kid gets scared. You knock them out, and you're yelling into this part of the brain system, right? They're responding to your tone and your language, and so they get a little scared and they shut down. You, dear parent, get reinforced. Aha, that yelling worked. But the child has not done any learning. So what's going to happen next? We haven't taught them any way to manage the feeling. And so they're probably going to push again. And when they do push again, dear parent, you're going to reference what happened last time, which was what was in your body. Your experience is that you yelled and then they stopped. And you, dear one, are very, very likely to then yell again. So you yell again, but children are super, super resilient. And so your child is going to continue doing this, right? Because they just got used to you yelling. And you're going to feel to yourself, wait, they're not doing it. I need to do it more. And so you're going to yell even louder. And maybe you yell loudly enough that your child does this again. They get scared and they stop. And you get reinforced. Or yelling. And so again, you get reinforced, but again, there's no learning. You haven't taught this child what to do instead of pushing the sibling when whatever it is that's provoking this happens. And so you're going to have the same thing again. You're going to have it again. And then what happened? Oh, wait, I've had these other experiences where I got reinforced for yelling. So I'm going to yell, but my child is really resilient. So I don't care. I'm just going to tune her out. So then you're going to have to yell even bigger in order to get this result. And you know what's going to happen? Finally, you're going to yell or scream loud enough that they're going to shut down. And then here you are in the cycle. And you will continue around and around in the cycle. Because when you are screaming at your child or doling out a punishment, that scares them because you've got tone and you're yelling and you're mad, or you've got your body language like this. Remember, this part of the brain is not reading words. So you may well be giving your child a lesson while you're yelling, but they're not going to process it because you have scared them. And until you are willing to step outside of this, and the way that we're going to do that, we're going to get out of this punishment loop by stopping right here. Okay? I do not expect the child to be the first one to stop. I expect you to be the first one to stop. So you're not going to yell the first time, or you're not going to yell out a punishment the first time. You know what you're going to do instead? You're going to come over here and you're going to think to yourself, who is this kid? And what does this child actually need in order to regulate? And what is regulation? Right? The act of regulating is you're down here in your brain. This is where you're kind of driving from. You gotta get back up here. This is where the good stuff is, remember? Language, learning, impulse control, judgment, all the good stuff for learning, not to hit your sibling. Okay? And so you're going to use your own nervous system in order to help your child do this arc. When you do this, then you get to do the teaching. And that is the time when you teach your child not to do this, not when you're in this crazy loop going around and around and around and everyone's screaming at each other. It's never going to work. You have to step out of this. This is the people who have this. They come to me and they say, you know what? My kids will not listen to me unless I'm screaming my head off. They only care if I'm yelling. Yes, because you're in a punishment loop, a yelling cycle. Friends, you've got to work with your child's biology and with your own. Now, there are two things that I want you to do today. Okay. I want you to comment here. Regulation 1 and consequences 1. And I'm going to send you 2 masterclasses. And yes, I want you to watch both of them. And then I want you to comment here on what stands out to you. Okay, what do you need in order to discipline your child? Well, discipline means to follow. The first thing you need to do is stop screaming. And then you got to help them get back to a place of regulation so that you can discipline them, that you can teach them so that they will follow you. Consequences 1, regulation 1. You absolutely have what it takes to parent your child. It's not going to be perfect, but it can be a whole lot better than a yelling cycle.